Greetings and blessings, everyone. This is Rick Caldwell with Caldwell Apologetics. I found a video debate on YouTube between Guerrilla Hebrew of the Sicarii Hebrew Israelites and G-Con. The debate was about who were the Gentiles that the Apostle Paul was writing to. And in the debate, there was a segment in which the question about the identity of the heathen mentioned in Galatians chapter 3, verse 8 was dealt with. Guerrilla Hebrew made some comments as to the identity of the heathen, and I want to take a few minutes just to review those comments. Enjoy.
Okay. It says, and the scripture foreseeing that God would justify the heathen through faith, preached before the gospel unto Abraham, saying, in thee shall all nations be blessed. Now, according to that verse, who is the heathen?
I'm gonna show you. Can I do my screen share?
Yes, sir.
All right, if you can pull that up. Hold on, I gotta try to share it. Hold on. Right, what verse is that? Galatians 3 and 8. You can see it now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, my fault. I didn't know. I was getting everything ready. Okay, so this is it, right?
Pay careful attention to the highlighted Greek words. We'll come back to these words later.
And the scripture foreseeing that God would justify the heathen through faith preached before the gospel of Abraham, saying, in thee all nations should be blessed, right? So they'll say that this heathen means not an Israelite, right? So this is the first thing we have to understand. This is the word for heathen right there, right? And it's ethnos, right? So watch this.
Let's quickly take note that the word heathen can be used either as a plural or a singular. So the word heathen by itself could actually be a plural, and that's a valid use of the word.
Let's type in this here in the English to Greek, right? Nation, ethnos. This is ethnos in the Greek. It's nation. Notice though, nation, is that singular or plural, Brother Solomon?
Nation, the word nation?
Yes, sir.
It's singular.
Singular, right? So ethnos is singular for nation. Now watch this when I make it plural. It turns into a different word, ethne, right? So when people go to that scripture and say this means that the nations are going to be justified, it's not talking about the nations in Greek. It's literally just talking about one nation, right? That one nation would be justified.
Remember how I told you to remember those two Greek words that I highlighted? It's very important that we remember those words because I present them here, and as we can clearly see, that the argument that Guerrilla Hebrew is making doesn't hold water because the Greek text is showing the words ethne, not ethnos, which demonstrates that it's talking about nations, plural, not nation, singular.
Right? So the corresponding Hebrew word to this is this word, which is goy, right? And we see it used in different contexts, right? We see it Gentiles, nations, right? But watch this. What's a good one here? Many nations. Right here. So this is Genesis 25 and 23, and this is in reference to Jacob and Esau, right? And it says, and the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, right? Two nations are in thy womb. So we see here, if two nations are in the womb, one of those nations is what? Jacob. So this same word is used in reference to Jacob.
This was mind-boggling. Clearly here in the text in Genesis chapter 25, two nations is referring both to Jacob and Esau. You don't have nations there unless you're talking about more than one people group. In fact, it says shortly after that that this represents two peoples, both Jacob and Esau. So to simply say that nations here only refers to Israel is only telling half the story.
There's not a scripture that they're going to quote that's going to say that the literal heathen are going to be justified through faith.
Actually, Galatians chapter 3, verse 8 does exactly that. Again, you see, according to the Greek there, if you have a problem with the English, but according to the Greek, It's ethne. Ethne meaning nations. The nations will be justified.
So when it says heathen here, and we see in the Greek, it's literally just referring to one nation, and we see the corresponding Hebrew term also is used all over the place to refer to Israel, even here, Genesis 46:3. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not, go down into Egypt, for I will make thee a great nation. Israel is going to be made a great nation. That same corresponding word in the Hebrew.
Not only is Genesis chapter 46, verse 3, not even the context of Galatians 3, verse 8, which deals with becoming sons of Abraham by faith. As we clearly see here, the word goy here in Hebrew is referring to only one nation. It's not goyim, which would be the plural form of this, but the singular form. And so words are always defined by the context in which they are used.
So what I'm saying is the heathen here, yes, it's translated as heathen because we have to remember the translators had, they were Protestant Christians, Anglican Protestant Christians. So they had what? Presuppositions predicated upon their religious belief. So certain things will come here in the translation, which is why it's important for us to take a look at the Greek and the Hebrew that it was written in.
However, presuppositions do not change the underlying Greek text. What Guerrilla Hebrew would need to show and demonstrate is that the original text was somehow altered or changed, a textual variant, something in the manuscripts that actually show the conclusions that he's trying to make. However, we know that the King James Bible was translated from the Textus Receptus, the Greek New Testament from Beza, Stephanus, and Erasmus. And each of those editions, the word there is ethne, not ethnos.